362 City, I was just hit by a car. Start EMS.
Wow, that was insane. Let's talk about this video. So, first of all, right off the bat, I want to let you guys know that everybody in this scene, in this video, all made it out alive. I first want to talk about how crazy this entire scene was to begin with. You know, because what happened was the trooper pulled over this white SUV, probably for speeding or something like that. During the course of the traffic stop, this black SUV comes barreling through and absolutely annihilates the white SUV, sending the trooper flying off to the side of the screen like you guys saw. I was reading some of the comments because I originally saw this video on PoliceActivity, and I kind of want to put my 2 cents, give my 2 cents to you guys with this whole thing. One of the comments that really stood out to me said, unless this was a medical emergency, that the driver should be jailed. And I mean, I don't disagree. People do like to day drink. You know, people will take prescription drugs or illegal drugs and drive. Even with the prescription drugs, if you're not supposed to operate heavy machinery, people still will. But there is something that happens way more often that contributes to these crashes than what the general public is aware of. And that is the medical emergency part. Look, for example, yesterday I was on shift and we had a patient. She had her son in the back seat, and she crashed head on with a tree, 50 miles an hour. The kid was all shooken up. He was scared. He was crying. They luckily all had their seatbelts on, and nobody was seriously injured. The driver, the patient, when we got out of the car, she was perfectly fine. No scratches, no bruises, nothing, as if nothing ever happened. Even the airbag to the steering wheel deployed somehow never hit her. It's very easy to assume, and with good reason, law enforcement asked if I had any suspicion of drugs or alcohol being involved. At first, I kind of did a little bit, but then talking to the son who saw the whole thing happen, he explained to me how they were driving and then his mom looked like she was having a seizure. How would her son know that it's specifically a seizure? Because mom has history of seizures and he knows that. So what ends up happening a lot of times is that people with history of seizures will go to the hospital. You know, they'll get prescribed by the doctor some medication to control their seizures. Sometimes the medication is either not enough, the dosaging is not enough, or the medication itself is not strong enough to stop future episodes of this happening. So then they find out while they're driving and they end up having a seizure. With seizures, right after a person comes out of the seizure, they're in this phase called the postictal phase. And pretty much what that is, it's when a person comes out, they're all groggy, they're kind of out of it, they have no recollection of what happened, and yeah, just no recollection of what happened, they're completely confused. That's usually some telltale signs of seizure activity. Some of the most common reasons I've seen people crash their vehicles, not related to alcohol, not related to drugs, whether that's prescription, whether that's illegal, and not related to suicidal ideations or anything like that. Have all been from the following: seizures, we just talked about that. The next one are strokes. The strokes, a lot of times, some people may lose complete motor function to either their arm, their leg, or they just somehow aren't really able to talk. And then sometimes, they may just completely pass out while they're driving. The one right after that is low blood sugar. Low blood sugars can make people pass out. Low blood sugars can make people become very aggressive and combative. And this happens a lot while people are driving. They might try to take some insulin right before they eat. They get distracted with something because they have to do something suddenly, and then later on they crash and they pass out because they have such a low blood sugar. Blood sugars and strokes are almost hand in hand because they both show the same type of symptoms. So that could be dangerous with that. The next one are infections, body infections, things like UTIs or anything or any kind of infection that can affect your blood. A lot of times can cause people to pass out. It can cause them to be completely out of it, and anything honestly can happen. A big phenomenon that happens a lot, much more, I would say, than medical emergencies and drunk driving and taking medication or drugs, and a lot of you professional drivers can attest to this, is the whole phenomenon of where your focus is at. That's like subconsciously where you start to steer, right? So let's say, for example, that you're driving and you see a car pulled over or an accident scene and the police are out with them. You're looking at the cherries and berries over there, right? So what happens is as you're driving, you slowly start turning the steering wheel into that direction. You don't even realize it. It's like it's a subconscious thing to match up, to keep your body in alignment wherever your focus is on. So you're focusing off to the side, and little do you know that your hands are starting to come to that direction too. And a lot of times that's how these accidents actually end up happening. If you see a lot of these trucker videos and other videos of people driving and stuff, to go reach for the floorboard or they go look at the passenger seat or something like that, their hands tend to follow their eyes. So they look and they turn into that direction and then they roll their vehicle or something like that. One of the worst feelings ever is when you have a friend, a family member, your children, and they're experiencing some kind of medical emergency, and you have this helpless feeling that you can't do anything about it. It doesn't matter if it's before you call 911 or after 911. Those short periods of time are just absolutely brutal and just heart-wrenching. That is the reason why I went to paramedic school, so I knew what to do for my children whenever this would happen, because early on when they were smaller, I'd be in the same boat. I'd freak out. I didn't know what to do. I want to take them to the emergency room. So what I'm putting together like a little quick checklist or guidebook on the most common medical emergencies you may encounter, whether that's at a school if you work in education, at your workplace, out on a truck stop if you're a trucker, and stuff that you can recognize in yourself as well. If that's something you're interested in, drop a comment below. Let me know that this is something that interests you. If it doesn't interest you, it is what it is. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you got value out of this, make sure you comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.